If I'm gonna be a Pokemon master, I need to get the Cyberworld game to work. But how?
Hey everybody, welcome back to Every Pokemon Ever. Last time, while gallivanting through the world of early 2000s internet, there was one Pokemon puzzle that was dubbed Lost Media, unobtainable, seemingly gone forever. A downloadable pseudo 3D game for your computer. The Cyberworld Pokémon 2000 adventure game was supposedly different than any other web-related game at the time. Hopefully, much, much different. The synopsis found on the main website followed the storyline of the Pokemon 2000 film. Collect the ancient elemental spheres and become the greatest Pokemon master of all time. Oh, apparently it's that easy. What have I been doing with my life? But apart from the few screenshots available, there has been little headway on restoring the game in the years that followed its cancellation in late 2000. To even play this game, it was required to run on a special Cyberworld created web browser. Of course, this was the case with all the other Cyberworld games at the time, but this browser has some seriously nice touches. I mean, why haven't I been using this the whole time? The big problem in restoration actually lies with Cyberworld's unique 2.5D game format. Affectionately called QBORGS, these web formats allowed first-person gameplay to be projected on a seemingly 3D plane, in a web browser. Think of some of those early computer games, like Doom or Chex Quest. And since this Pokemon game was running on proprietary software and had a very short tenure, I frustratingly cannot get anywhere while throwing it back to classic internet searches, even with the download of the Pokemon 2000 web browser. But I won't give up that easy. Did I say no when there was no hope of ever seeing what was inside the Pokemon Print Club machine? No, I solved that mystery. How about the lost Tomamushi University cassette tapes? I mean, sure, we didn't actually get to hear the song, because its owner destroyed it by accident as he tested it before sending it to us, but couldn't you feel a wave of nostalgia as we almost heard it? And how about those lost mobile adapter GB news segments? Surely, this Cyberworld thing is just another rung in the ladder of unsolved Pokemon mysteries, clamoring to be discovered. Nope. No, seriously, this is not working. There's literally no way to do the... Wait, I have an idea! After finally coming to the realization that I 100% cannot make this game run myself, I made some calls. Enter two members of the Cyberworld core development team, project leader Neil Marshall and programmer Eddie Ruminski. By perusing old Lost Media wikis, you can see that Neil has actually been asked about this game quite a few times, but his answer always remained open-ended. He never kept a copy of the game because it ran on an old version of Internet Explorer, and quite frankly, it was never meant to last. But somehow, here we are. And now, we can really start to get to the bottom of this mystery.
So, I'm excited to say I'm now joined by two members of the Cyberworld crew, Eddie and Neil. Thank you guys for joining me today.
There we are.
So let's start by traveling back 23, 24 years to your time at Cyberworld when the Pokemon game came about.
I think I was like 1 year out of high school at that point.
Okay.
And I think Eddie was still in co-op, like it was.
Yeah, so with Cyberworld, I was actually hired as a junior position straight out of high school. I actually interned with them during high school, which included pretty much everything, which is like quality assurance testing, textures, building installers, just whatever they had that every specific employee didn't want to do. I did that.
So you got the leftovers?
Pretty much, I got to do everything else.
And so you guys had this popular engine up and running in a Cyberworld special browser?
We had it's essentially a Wolfenstein engine.
Yeah.
And so you could, you put JPEGs down for the walls and it would tile it for their billboard and face the camera. Okay. And then on the side of the browser, we had HTML pages in Internet Explorer. I think it was 5. Maybe 6.
Okay.
There were two engine programmers on
Yeah.
the thing. There was Mike and Jesse.
Okay.
So they programmed the Wolfenstein side of things and embedded the HTML engine in there, and they gave us a couple JavaScript API commands that we could call to manipulate the 3D world. So that's all it was, and it was like a custom web browser that they were trying to get people to use at the time.
And this is where the QBORGs come in. I just like saying QBORGs, QBORG.
Yeah, it was effectively just a fairly simple Doom Wolfenstein level, but the advantage in it was that they were very easy to build, and anyone could build them. There was a level editor that you get with the browser, so it was actually simpler to build a 3D world than it was to make a drag and drop website today. And so that's something that doesn't come through with a lot of the screenshots. Because at this point, looking back on it, we just see someone doing rudimentary 3D, but on the web, and this is kind of like predating, like there was Shockwave at the time, which could do 3D, but that was incredibly hard to develop for. And so that was limited, whereas this was easy and could just load up.
As a child of the late 90s era of internet myself, what you guys are saying sounds pretty much impossible, but yet it did exist. And to me, that's amazing. And then the greatest news, I'm sure.
We are the very models of cartoon individuals.
Warner Brothers contacts you guys to make a Pokemon licensed web game.
Yeah, so it was in 1999 that AOL Time Warner, they reached out to us. They wanted us to do the promotion for the next Pokemon movie. And obviously, yes. But the thing is, they sent over a VHS copy of the movie ahead of time.
Right.
But no one at the office except me knew what a Pokemon was. Nobody knew what Pokemon were at all. So I was the only one who could raise their hand, and they'd be like, here's the video, go to that room, watch the movie, play some games. Like, what does this mean?
And then they sent over their Pokemon expert to tell us about Pokemon. Eddie was the most familiar with it, but the guy. All I remember is the guy had like a red mohawk. He showed up into the
Oh wow, red mohawk. Whoa, dude. Yeah. Nice.
I don't remember the guy's name or anything like that, but he he was telling us all about like all the Pokemon, and it was the Pokemon 2000 movie, so it was already out in Japan. Yeah, so they, we did all that, and then we started on the game.
So Eddie was kind of the Pokemon translator for the team, and then you guys got a pre-screener VHS tape.
Generally, my initial involvement in Pokemon was first translating it, basically saying characters you should use. These are generally what what should be done, and giving them an idea of like power sets, environments, stuff like that. So.
And then once you guys finally did build this game for AOL Time Warner, it was a big success for you guys, right?
Managed to hit just over 1 million downloads of the Pokemon browser in that month, which was by far the most successful one we developed at the time.
I remember like I think the company got like $2 million to make the game.
$2 million? One second, guys. Mom always said I should go into acting, and now instead of making millions and millions of dollars making Flash games, I'm sitting in this chair. Sorry. So now we have some very incredible news about this last game. This is just crazy how this unfolded. So I guess, Neil, is this correct? You had a disc that you sent to Eddie because you thought the software was just going to be, kind of obsolete. Like, there was no reason to really keep it because it would never run on anything past Internet Explorer, whatever.
I had it like on an old CD, and I dug it up and I sent it to him, and then he got it up and running.
And so Eddie had the files all this time, but the game would never run properly due to the delicate balance of the web-based game and then the side panels, or...
It typically would run the QBORGS, the 3D worlds, fine. The problem was when you hit an interaction point, you'd start throwing up errors because it was dependent on the servers and loading the scripts correctly, so you'd never have a smooth playthrough. In fact, you couldn't have a playthrough.
Right, so Eddie, you decided to give it a little bit of a different approach when you graciously were collecting footage for my show. Thank you again for that. And all of a sudden, miraculously, it decided to behave all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was actually fairly. I don't even know what happened was because I've been trying to restore this for a while and not do much effort into it. I haven't tried decompiling anything or recoding it.
Yeah.
But I've been assembling the files from a few of the other employees that had some. This is all that I can get. Everything else is pretty much lost. But I tried recording for you. For some reason, I went through a few steps and I realized I could get it working. And so now, which you see the actual Pokedex, that's something that never worked before. So now you can actually select your players, go back and forth, answer questions, and actually go through the level.
That is so amazing that unfolded like that. And now we're super excited to share with all of you a first re-look at the lost Cyberworld Pokemon adventure game. Let's take a look. So just like in the film, it looks like we're approaching Shamudi Island, and then we have the little map on the bottom right here, and behind us there we got the 3 islands, fire, ice, and lightning kind of hubs for where Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres are taking their restful slumber.
The premise is at the start you select one of 3 Pokemon teams, and those are preset.
Oh, okay, okay.
And if you check the design files, you'll see that there's which Pokemon they are.
Yeah.
So you select one of those teams and a difficulty level. Though I'm not sure who put Jinx in the game because I hate Jinx. I don't even know why they got in there. And every time I look at the design files, I'm like, I don't know which one is this here.
I did notice it said to go after Moltres first, so it looks like that's what you did here. All right, Eddie, I hate to say this, but it looks like everything's on fire. Is that supposed to be?
Right,
Yeah, in your way between you and the legendary Pokemon are environmental obstacles, and when you encounter one, you will be given an option of which Pokemon do you want to use to try to overcome this. So in some cases, it's using the flight of Pidgey to carry you over a raging river, or there's maybe some boulders in your way. You use any Pokemon that can smash them. You know, and you find yourself in the case where you do not have an appropriate Pokemon to pass that obstacle. If you fail 3 times, Professor Oak sends you a Ditto.
Of course he does.
And he turns into what you need.
Right, so why don't we take a minute to talk about the Pokeballs and the items that we see floating around the islands?
There are a few little power-ups here and there throughout the world where you can earn experience points, potentially level up your Pokemon, evolve your Pokemon, or get one of your Pokemon stolen by Team Rocket.
Wait, do you battle Team Rocket in this?
No, I just remember it being sort of like trivia.
Okay, okay.
There wasn't like an actual Pokemon battle in it.
Right, yeah.
No, there weren't any stats or anything like that. I think it was just mainly trivia.
Ah, okay, so this is a game of riddles. And then I did read in the notes that these question marks are tied to a Who's That Pokemon game in your Pokedex. You kind of guess the Pokemon based on the silhouette, so that's super fun. So once you get to the end of the area, what happens here?
It's basically running around a Doom or Wolfenstein level where, you know, they're going to be asking you questions. And that's what the legendary Pokemon at the end does. They ask you a question.
Yeah, I actually did have the questions here printed out. Which Pokemon do the evil Team Rocket always steal from Ash? Obviously, Pikachu, you know. Which Pokemon gives you a 1,000-year curse by touching its tails? Which Pokemon is small, round, and smells? I mean, there's Jigglypuff, Venonat, Coughing, and Poliwag. I think it could be any of them, depending on what they're doing. But, you know, yeah, these are pretty basic for the average Pokemon fan, but if you're not familiar with the game, this might be a little difficult.
The actual code has several pages worth of fairly not tough to any Pokemon fan, but generally things that you need to know the series to even go through.
And then it looked like the next segment was Zapdos Island, which is pretty similar, just everything's ablaze in lightning bolts. Like a Harry Potter birthday party.
Oh, happy Hogwarts birthday, magic wizard birthday, fun wizard, happy birthday, fun, 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 fun.
When you look at the actual team structure, you'll notice that there are no grass Pokemon.
Yeah.
There's very little variety in the Pokemon, and that was really more of the fact that the obstacles in the game dictated which Pokemon we kind of pushed. And so, yeah, every team would need a fire Pokemon, an ice Pokemon, some sort of Pokemon that could smash through things, and possibly a redundancy of that. In case you lose one from Team Rocket, you're not completely crippled.
So I want to talk a little bit about the downfall of the game, because it was seriously short-lived. There was a contract dispute between Warner Brothers and Pokemon. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
I figure it was, Warner Brothers was making a Pokemon game and they didn't have the rights to make a Pokemon.
Okay.
So I think it was released for a very short period of time. And then Nintendo saw it and just said no.
What they did not count on, and this is where the cease and desist hit us a month after launch, was Nintendo was not expecting the game we were developing to be a full-fledged game, and let alone a game that was 3D in a franchise that was predominantly 2D. And Pokemon Snap only just came out.
Oh, yeah, because if you could go buy Pokemon Snap on the 64 or play this wonderful game online for free, why on earth would you go pay money to play Pokemon Snap, right?
They were not expecting something that they would be threatened as an actual game, because they've had bad experiences with licensees making really weird games, such as CDI with the Mario and Zelda games.
Gee, it sure is boring around here. I just wonder what Ganon's up to.
And so that was still a little more fresh in their mind of, oh no, we've let someone else develop games. And for their biggest property at the time, they quickly pounced on this. And so we had to pull it immediately.
So for the hardcore completionists out there, what is left to find of this game to make it 100% complete again?
At the end, during the Celebration Island scene, the one thing that is lost that I can't refine, but you can find previews of it in the concept art, was the certificate of completion that you get.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of just an image that was generated with your name, your point total, and your team of a Pokemon on the bottom. So it's a little certificate you could print out. So the only thing missing are the actual fun flash animations of all the Pokemon doing their attacks, like little bubble spraying or Ditto coming in, or the actual opening animation, which is the Pokeball being thrown, opening up, stuff like that. So the razzle dazzle of the times.
So the game is basically restored then, minus a few mini flash animations that could easily be replicated with old art from the Kids WB vault of Pokemon art. So that's really, really amazing to hear. So basically it can be said that it's found. And based on that, I do have one other question for you, Eddie. What other games are you hiding from us? This game was never really lost per se. It was just hiding away in your closet on a CD. So what else do you got?
No, and surprisingly, they have a list of other lost media there, and I know for a fact, I'm like, okay, I have the Egypt world. I'm pretty sure I have the Hangar. I'm pretty sure I have the Skulls game, Boneville. I have all of these.
It's you. You need to get those up there. No, just kidding. Guys, so thank you so much for sharing this with me, of all people. Every time that we dive into these lost things and we find it, it's incredible to share with the Pokemon community, and thank you so much for sharing it with me. I'm sure everybody who remembers the Cyberworld Pokemon adventure game will be really, really pumped about this.
Nobody does.
Hey, you'd be surprised. Alright guys, take it easy.
I cannot thank Eddie and Neil enough for sharing this exciting first look at a lost 23-year-old web game with me. While not 100% complete, the Cyberworld Pokemon adventure is no longer lost. It has been found. I don't think people creating Pokemon content back in the day realized the magnitude of their work. Years later, there are things still being talked about, just like this. And by working together, we can all bring these pieces of Pokemon history to light. I cannot wait to get started on the next leg of my own journey, whatever that may be. I'll see you next time, and as always, stay awesome, Pokemon fans.
Well, that's quite enough of that. Time for lunch.
Every Pokemon Ever is 100% non-profit, by the fans, for the fans, but there is a way that you can help out. We're supporting St. Jude Children's Hospital. Donate today and help end childhood cancer.